The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Well, hello everybody, and welcome to the Auctiva eBay Promoted Listings webinar. My name is Natasha Burns, and I'm the product manager here at Auctiva, and I'm very excited to have you all on the call today as we're going to be talking about the power of promoted listings and how they can help you drive more sales, just in time for the holiday selling season. Joining us today is our very special eBay guest speaker, Christian Garcia, who is going to dive into the insights into promoted listings, as well as share some of the growth metrics sellers have experienced while using eBay Promoted Listings Standard. All right, so today we are going to be covering what are eBay ads? What are eBay promoted listings? How do they benefit me and why should I use them? So we'll be covering the key benefits of eBay Promoted Listings Standard, as well as where your eBay Promoted Listings Standard listings are placed on the eBay site. We'll be talking about the guidance and recommendations you can follow to help get the most out of promoted listings. And then Christian will also be talking about the success stories and the growth metrics sellers have experienced. We'll also be giving you an Auctiva demonstration so that you can see how to create and manage these campaigns directly through your Auctiva account. At the end of the webinar, there should be some time for some open Q&A. So at any time throughout the webinar, please feel free to type your questions into the questions portion of the GoToWebinar interface, and we'll be happy to talk about those at the end. All right, Christian, I'm going to go ahead and pass it on over to you.
Awesome. Thank you, Natasha. So good morning, good afternoon, wherever you may be joining from. So first, I'd like to thank Auctiva, for allowing us to speak today, and thanks to all the participants for joining. So why consider eBay ads? Well, as you know, eBay is a massive marketplace with over 1.5 billion listings and 19 million sellers. So with this large footprint comes a lot of selling competition. So eBay ads, and specifically the promoted listing suite of campaign types, were designed to help sellers navigate this competition, boost visibility, and scale their eBay business. So we'll be diving more into the promoted listing standard ad solution. Great. So Promoted Listing Standard is eBay's long-running, self-service, easy-to-use, tried-and-true advertising solution that allows you to supercharge your listings for increased visibility. So there are a number of key benefits that come along with using Promoted Listing Standard. So one, Promoted Listing Standard gives you the opportunity to receive a boost in visibility above where you would display organically. So if your promoted listing ranks higher, your organic listing will not show in the same set of search results. Conversely, if your organic listing ranks higher, your promoted listing will not show in the same set of search results. And with a long-running program comes some very compelling proof points and performance stats. So sellers who have adopted promoted listings on average see a double-digit increase in sales. We also see a boosting visibility at an average of 36%. And when using promoted listings, sellers are able to shorten their selling time by up to 12%. So again, results may vary, but this is on average what sellers can expect to see. So number two, secondly, and probably the most unique benefit when compared to other marketplaces, is the cost per sale model of Promoted Listing Standard. So sellers select an ad rate or a percentage of the final sale price that they're willing to allocate towards Promoted Listing Standard. And only when a sale is made from that promoted listing will sellers incur an ad fee. So it's a really low risk cost structure that gives sellers full control over their ROAS. So a quality listing and a competitive ad rate is a great recipe for a boost in visibility. Third is guided setup. So we provide guidance on which listings are best suited for the tool, as well as listing level ad rate guidance to ensure that you're staying competitive. And lastly, as Natasha set up, we're happy to announce that Promoted Listing Standard is available within the Auctiva platform. So we'll be going through that later, but we're really excited that we're able to provide Auctiva sellers with a seamless Promoted Listing Standard experience. So now in terms of where promoted listings are found, so promoted listings placements are primarily found within the search river, as I indicated earlier, and across product listing pages. So within search, promoted listing standard placements will never compete with your organic listing. Again, we'll determine which listings to show based on where you'll be showing within search. And across product pages, promoted listing standard units are found in the similar sponsored items and sponsored items from the seller modules within actual product pages. So this is pretty cool because these placements are only accessible by using promoted listings. So if you're not opted into the program, you are limited to search only organic placement and not within product pages. Great. So next slide, please. Yeah, and in terms of recommendations, as I mentioned before, we want to provide sellers with guidance to ensure that they're being successful as they use promoted listings. So there are really two core pieces of guidance that we provide sellers with. One are recommended listings. So eBay, will comb through a seller's list of listings, and we will help sellers identify which are best suited for the tool. So this is really a great kind of starting point, for if you're unsure of which listings to select, we help you to do that. Secondly is a suggested ad rate. So this is tailored to each of your listings, and it's really calculated on a number of different qualifiers, including your listings attributes, seasonality, past performance. So again, this is how we allow sellers to stay competitive with their ad rate, and we tailor this to very specific use cases. And as I mentioned earlier, all of this is built directly into the Auctiva platform, so you're able to take advantage of eBay's recommendation engine directly within Auctiva. Great. And lastly, wrapping it up with some success stories. I mentioned earlier a couple of kind of generic sales performance stats that we see on average. But there are a number of sellers who have really been seeing some very strong results. And here we have 3 examples across 3 different verticals: electronics, fashion, apparel, as well as home and garden. So these sellers are heavy users of promoted listings and have seen a significant lift in sales. Here this electronics seller saw a 3x increase in sales, 179% increase in items sold, and so the lift is really apparent. And again, a low risk tool that'll allow you to potentially enjoy the benefits of increased visibility and increased sales velocity. So I think that wraps it up for my presentation, short and sweet. But yeah, so I'll pass it over to Natasha to take you through the demo of the integration that the product team built.
All right, thank you so much, Christian. Okay, everybody, so today I wanted to give you a live demonstration on how you can go ahead and create new promoted listing standard campaigns directly through your Auctiva account and then manage those campaigns as well. So the first thing I wanted to call out is how to navigate to the promoted listings page within your Auctiva account. If you are in one of Auctiva's newer multi-channel plans, you can simply navigate to the promoted listings page by hovering over the marketing tab and then clicking directly on promoted listings. If you happen to be subscribed to one of Auctiva's grandfathered eBay only plans, this is the interface you are more familiar with. And then to access the promoted listings page from this account, you'd simply hover over the listings tab. And then right here in the marketing section, you'll see the link to the promoted listings page. Now, the only difference there is just the navigation, but all controls to create and manage your campaign is the same. All right, so when you go to the eBay promoted listings page within your Auctiva account, you'll see a list of all of your current and past promoted listing campaigns. This is where you can edit and manage those existing campaigns and add any new listings to them if desired. To create a new campaign, you'll simply click on the Create a New Campaign button. And now, Before you go ahead and select the listings you want included in your campaign, you'll go ahead and provide a title. So we'll go with a 2021 Q4 Promote All. That way I can capitalize on that selling season. All right, we'll go ahead and have this start for October 1st. So for the start date, you can go ahead and schedule this for a future date, or if you select today's date and publish the campaign, it should publish in about 15 minutes after saving and publishing the campaign. Let's see, for my end date, I'm going to go ahead and select just a few days before Christmas. So we'll have this run from October 1st through December 20th. Now, to add listings to your campaign, you can either use eBay's recommended listings, which you can see here are available on a category basis. So you can either go ahead and select all eBay recommended listings, or you can go ahead and pick listings based off which leaf category they're in. So for example, if I just wanted to promote my toy items, I can go ahead and select that category. Next, you would go ahead and pick your ad rate strategy. So right here, you can go ahead and elect to use eBay's suggested ad rates, which can help you stay competitive, or you can be very specific with your ad rates and set your own default ad rate by selecting this option here. I'm going to go ahead and use eBay suggested ad rates for this example. And it's important to know that clicking next doesn't yet publish the campaign. Rather, it brings you to a review period or a review process. So when you click next, you'll see that your items have populated so that you can verify the items, the quantity, the price, and you can go ahead and adjust your ad rate if necessary. So you can see right here we have an idea of what eBay's suggested ad rate is. And again, if you want to be a bit more competitive, you can go ahead and increase those points a couple, to what makes sense for your item. And then that can help you stay more competitive in that specific product. You can also decrease the ad rate if that suggested ad rate perhaps is too steep of a rate for you. And then additionally, you can go ahead and just manually input a number there. On the right-hand column, you'll go ahead and see your estimated eBay ad fee so that you can go ahead and verify that you're willing to spend this much in order to promote this specific item. If you'd like to add more campaigns to the listing, you can go ahead and click the Add a Listing button. Now you'll notice I don't have any more recommended eBay listings available, but you can go ahead and add listings that you specifically want to promote by including the list of the eBay listing IDs. So just before this call, I did go ahead and prepare a file of the listings I want to specifically promote. So I'm going to go ahead and paste those IDs right into the listings field. And then really quick, I'm just going to add the commas in because it's a comma separated list of listing IDs. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and click next, and we can see that those new items have been added to my campaign. And again, I elected to use just a default ad rate of 1%. You can verify your ad rate fee there. You can increase the percentages. And then once you've verified your ad rate, you can go ahead and click the Save and Publish button. Okay. Looks like I have, so not all, it's important to note that not all categories are supported. So I'm going to go ahead and remove one of those categories. All right, or two of those items. I'm going to go ahead and click Save and Publish. There we go. Our campaign was successfully created. And now when I go back to the promoted listings page, you can see that I have my campaign now scheduled to start on October 1st, and I have 6 listings in that campaign. And that process is just about the same to edit a campaign. So if you need to modify listings within a specific campaign or add more listings to it, you would simply just click on that campaign. And again, it will bring you to that same view where you simply just click the Add a Listings button right there at the bottom, and then you can add more listing IDs that way or select more eBay recommended listings. All right, so that's about it for the demo. Again, to access this in your Auctiva account, simply hover over the Marketings tab and then click on the Promoted Listings button. Or if you're in one of our grandfathered plans, again, you would access the promoted listings page by hovering over the listings tab and then clicking on the promoted listings link. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and open the floor for some questions and answers. All right, I do see that we have a couple questions, and I did want to remind everybody that if you do have any specific questions on promoted listing standard in general, or how to manage your campaigns through Auctiva, please feel free to type those into the questions portion now. Christian, I believe you already kind of touched on this, but if you could please speak again. We have a seller asking, is promoted listing standard available to all eBay sellers? Do you have to have a store subscription?
Yeah, so in terms of eligibility, promoted listing standard is currently available to above and top rated eBay sellers with recent sales activity. So sellers can promote fixed price listings for most categories, except vehicles, real estate, and everything else, as well as some travel categories. And today, auction and auction by it now are not eligible for promoted listing standard. So as long as you meet, all that criteria, no subscriptions needed, you're good to use promoted listing standard.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. Okay, I do see another question. If we have a seller asking, how does the ad rate increase the visibility?
Yeah, so again, ad rate, kind of acts as a bit of a bid proxy. Again, it's a cost per sale model, so it's not a traditional bid, but it is what allows sellers to stay competitive. So there are a number of different elements that go into what's known as eBay's best match. Right, so your relevancy, the quality of your listing, so all of that remains true for promoted listings standard, and obviously the ad rate kind of allows you to be competitive, right? So if you're using an ad rate that's closer to our suggested ad rate, you can assume that you're being more competitive and you have a higher chance of surfacing within search and the product pages. So again, ad rate really allows you to stay competitive, but again, keeping in mind all the other factors when it comes to relevancy, image quality, and just overall, quality of listing. So, ensure that you're doing all of those things together to maximize your visibility.
Okay, wonderful. Thanks again, Christian. Okay, we've got another question, and this is a really good one. Do promoted listings make sense for one-of-a-kind items?
Yeah, so I mean, promoted listings standard is really, again, it's intended to allow sellers to cut through the competition. So, if there's a particular listing that you really want to boost in visibility, and even despite that there might not be others like that, promoted listing standards is a great place to start. And again, given the low risk cost model, unless someone actually purchases that, you won't be charged. So, we definitely recommend, testing it out where possible. Of course, looking at the recommended listings guidance, that's always a great starting point. But it is a way to boost your visibility, especially if it's within a competitive category that might come up in the user's search results.
All right, thank you again. All right, another question around the ad rate. So what is the ad rate? Is that what determines the cost of the ad?
Yeah.
Yes, please answer, Christian.
Yeah. So again, the ad rate is a percentage of the final sales price that you're willing to allocate towards promoted listings. So if you have a $100 item and you set an ad rate for $5, and a seller clicks on that promoted listing and ends up purchasing that $100 item, you can expect a $5 ad fee. So again, this is all something that the seller sets up. You're only charged if the item sells, which in turn gives you complete control over your return on ad spend. So it's the ad fee that you can expect, again, based on the final sales price.
Yeah, so I hope that answered your question. As Christian was kind of explaining that, I was pointing out that visually through Auctiva, when you set your ad rate, you can also verify that estimated ad rate fee. And again, this would only be in the case that this item sold as a result of the promoted listing ad. If you had an item in a campaign and it did not sell as a result of the ad, you would not need to pay that ad fee. So the ad fee is only charged if your listing was purchased as a result of the ad fee. All right, and I see that we do have another question in chat. Okay, Christian, I don't know if how if we'll be able to answer this exactly, but it's a very specific question. How about small sellers? What are the stats on their sales when using promoted listings?
Yeah, so some of the stats I mentioned earlier are kind of generally what we see across the board. I know some of these success stories are from some of our larger sellers, but we see that this tool really appeals to all seller sizes who are looking to scale their eBay business. We can so again, it's a pretty some of the stats I mentioned are pretty generic, but we do see that those performance stats are true across the board. As the mechanism is the same for all sellers.
Great.
Hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, I also wanted to just add on top of that I have spoken with a lot of sellers, large and small, about promoted listings, and a lot of them just say like, when I started out with promoted listings, I'm a small seller, and they had no idea what to start out as an ad rate. So many of them start with 1%. And honestly, a lot of sellers that start with 1% have seen a lot of great success there. And then just depending on how the sales come in and the competition, they've honestly increased the 1% to be a bit higher, just based on the results they got. But you have complete control over your ad rate. So if you're new to this and you're not sure how it will impact your sales, you can start small and then scale up.
Yeah, thanks for that color, Natasha. And again, it's really, if you're concerned about, where you are in search today, if you're kind of unhappy with your typical position in search, promoted listing standard is really a great way to boost your visibility within search, but then also those product pages that I was mentioning earlier. Those modules within product pages are only accessible through promoted listings. So it's really a great way to maximize your visibility, not only within search, but across the entire site, especially within those product pages, which are at the point of purchase. So deeper into the marketing funnel. So it's a great way to get run of site access, no matter the size of your business.
Yes, thanks, Christian. Okay, let's see. We have another question. Let's see if I'm understanding it correctly. Promoted listings are for 30 days. Do they auto renew? So I believe, to answer your question, promoted listing campaigns can actually run for any set duration that you specify here. So you can actually have a campaign that runs continuously. Right here, you can actually just leave the end date blank and it will run continuously. If that's your preferred method, you can pause a campaign at any time. So if you wanted to, you could just have one single campaign that runs endlessly for all items, and then only when necessary could you pause that. So promoted listings, they don't have to just run for 30 days. They can run for any amount of time that you set. Christian, do you perhaps know how relisting works? Where if a maybe an item has been relisted, is that automatically added back into the campaign? Or if it's a new
Yes, I believe that's the case, and we also have the kind of similar to that. As long as sellers are using the stock out feature, if an item runs out of stock, it obviously won't display, but then when the item is restocked, it'll pop back in. So yes, so it follows kind of that.
Okay, perfect. Thank you again. All right, and we have another question coming in. What percentage of sales would you recommend setting up for promoted listings?
So if I understand that correctly, kind of, is that pertaining to ad? Well, I'll answer it in one way. So if it's pertaining to ad rate, again, it really comes down to the category, the season, etc. So that's where the suggested ad rate is really a useful tool. At the end of the day, you know your margins best. You know what you can afford to allocate. But the suggested ad rate is really a great kind of reference point or benchmark to be able to see, what kind of ad rate you need to stay competitive. If the question was more about, what percentage of your catalog should you allocate towards promoted listings, I really think that depends, based on your strategy. Again, given the cost per sale model, as long as you're, willing to allocate some fees to promoted listings, I think it can really depend, and that's, I think, also where we give the recommended listing. So that's another great kind of starting point. If you're not sure what listings to recommend, we help you with that. And again, that's all based around, propensity for sales, which, is obviously the goal of promoted listings. So, that's kind of another reference, point that we give you. But at the end of the day, it comes down to your strategy, which items you're looking to maximize visibility and sales velocity across.
Okay, thank you. I do see another question coming in. This one is about the visibility. So they're a US-based seller, and they're wondering if their promoted listings appear internationally.
Yeah, so the promoted listings, wherever you're selling, is where those promoted listings will appear.
All right, and is that the same if you have the international site visibility enabled?
Yeah, so really wherever your listing is eligible for a sale, is where your promoted listings shows up. So if you generally sell, if you're a US based seller, but you sell in the UK and your item is eligible for sale in the UK, your promoted listing can appear there.
Okay, perfect. And then I think you touched on this earlier, but can we get just verification that we can use promoted listings in combination with other promotions such as markdowns and best offer?
Yeah, so if you use Promotions Manager to offer a markdown sale event, the markdown sale event price change appears in your promoted listing. So again, the ad fees are based on the final sales price, including if you accept the best offer as the final value price. So the answer is yes.
All right, perfect. Thanks again. And then one last time, Christian, a lot of questions around the ad rate, but how does the percentage of the ad rate affect the visibility of the promoted item?
Yeah, so again, it kind of acts as an additional layer, where our search machine determines search position. So there are a number of elements that affect organically, where you show up. So that's related to our best match, and that's always why we recommend, that you ensure that your listings are optimized. Strong titles, clear images, obviously relevancy, to the actual search query. So all of those factors are taken into account. And then the ad rate, adds kind of serves as an additional layer to help determine where you rank. So, if you have a competitive ad rate and a high quality listing, you can expect that you'll get an optimal position in search. So it's really that kind of additional layer that'll allow you to kind of compete with other sellers and in terms of where you'll show up within search. taking into account all the kind of other organic factors that I mentioned. So kind of, if you have a very irrelevant listing, that's poor quality, but you have a 50% ad rate, for example, you shouldn't expect to rank, very highly because of all those kind of other factors that I mentioned. Whereas, if you have a very high quality listing that's very relevant and you're using a competitive ad rate, you can expect to get much more out of the tool. So, we recommend that you really take into account all of those things, but the ad rate is kind of an additional qualification layer when it comes to determining your search position.
All right, perfect. That makes complete sense. Thanks again. So I don't see that we have any other remaining questions unless, Christian, did you want to kind of comb through the questions? Maybe I overlooked one. There was a lot in there.
Yeah, no, I think I covered it. The question around eligibility, I didn't run through that in my presentation. But again, as long as you meet all of those requirements in terms of your seller standard, fixed price, and then the categories, you're eligible to use the tool. Obviously, even if you're optimizing your listings for best match, promoted listings is still a way that you can even further increase your visibility. But yeah, I think those are kind of the key points that I wanted to make.
All right. Well, thank you, Christian, so much for joining today's webinar and helping educate us all on the benefits of promoted listings. I really do appreciate it. For everybody else on the call, I just wanted to say thank you. And I wanted to point out that the promoted listings integration with Auctiva is available to all plan subscriptions. So no matter which plan tier you're on, you do have access to this feature. And our team is available Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. through 6 p.m. So if you go ahead and give out our promoted listings a try and have any additional questions, please do not hesitate to reach out to our team. We're more than happy to help. And with that, I just want to say thank you to everybody. Thank you, Christian, and thanks for everybody on the call. I hope you have a great day. All right, bye-bye now.